Good morning, YouTube. This is a WRX and Effects with a little bit of breakfast, I guess you'd call it juice. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. Got some spinach. Pick off the old nasty stuff. We'll get to that. Let's first go through what we have. We've got spinach. We've got celery. Got carrots. Cucumber. And a delicious red apple. Alright, now it would take quite a bit of effort to eat all of this food. It's a lot of, it's a lot of food. So what I'm going to do is juice it. There are some drawbacks to juicing your fruits and vegetables, and emphasis on the vegetables. The only fruit here is the apple. That's just to sweeten it up a bit, but the drawback, obviously, in eating or in drinking the juice of vegetables is you miss the fiber. So you want to make sure that you're still getting an ample amount of dietary fiber throughout the day. Here's a good way. Oats. Let's see, but I'm not going to put that in my shake. I'm just going to, or in my juice. That's just a separate aside. And this right here should make enough juice to last me all day. Okay, I always start out with my cucumber because it has a very high water content. The good thing about it is you get, everything that's in the peel. You get everything that's in the actual inside of the fruit, the meat of the fruit as well. So it's a very, very good treat. So I'm just going to rinse it off here with cool water. Now if you buy unorganic produce, which I do not recommend that you do, but if you do buy unorganic produce, you want to make sure that you skin it, because the pesticides work from the outside in for the most part, and by skinning it you can get rid of a lot of the pesticides. Doesn't change the GMO nature of the food, but it does hopefully get you less toxins in your body that you have to then try to expel. So this is the way I juice it. Okay, so that's juicing the cucumber. I wish you could smell it, because the smell is really quite delicious. I mean, it smells like cucumber, but it smells so fresh and so green. Living in the city, it's not something that you smell too often, unless you're working with fresh produce on a daily basis. To give you an idea, that cucumber gave us 200 milliliters of juice, and that is pure goodness. You could drink that in about 3 minutes, but it would take forever to eat that cucumber. So it's very, very nutrient dense. Let's next go with the celery, because celery also has a very high water content. The celery and the cucumber make up the base of the drink. Apple also has a very high amount of water content, and I use a lot of carrots, so I get a lot of carrot juice. But I'm just going to fill out the cucumber and see how much cucumber I really want. I'm sorry, not cucumber, but celery. See how much celery I really want. I'm going to start with these 4 stems here, so I'll wash those. sure to get the dirt off. It's also really great if you can find cucumber with the green still on them. Obviously these have been clipped, but if you can find them like that, or if you grow them yourself, all the better. Let's see, so that's one. Let's get there. Two. Three. Four. To give you an idea, 200 milliliters, that's like 7.5 ounces, 7.5 fluid ounces. So now I've got 4 stems of celery. When I load these into the juicer, I'm going to load them this way, leaves down, because you get more nutrients towards the more green part of the stem, and the wider part you get the least amount of nutrients. That's the number one reason. The number two reason is if you get down to this tiny nub and it is very flimsy, it's less likely to get ground properly. So being that this is the stiffest portion of the plant, it grinds more evenly and you get more juice extracted from this portion than you would from this portion alone. By virtue of this being connected to the whole stem, it doesn't have a problem grinding this way. So, just a couple tips I've picked up. I've got a pretty large juicer, so I can use all 4 of these at one time. That's what I'll do. And I'm just on the low setting. Alright, that's a really great smell. I wish you could smell it. Again, it's just so... I don't even have the word for it. It's a wonderful, wonderful smell. Let me show you where we're at now. That's put us right about 400 milliliters. So I got about another 7 ounces of juice from the celery. So I'm gonna stick away from the celery at this point. The two things that give me the least amount of juice per ounce of actual produce are the carrots and the spinach. Now the spinach is also my superfood. It's the most nutrient dense food that I have here that I'll be juicing today. Sometimes I'll use kale. Sometimes I'll use char, sometimes I'll use bok choy. Those are all really high water content, but spinach and kale obviously have the highest nutrient content of the group that I mentioned. So I'm probably going to use a good portion of the spinach. I'm probably going to use about half of it. I bought the spinach a couple days ago, so I am going to look through it to make sure we don't have any nastiness going on here. This all looks good. This looks good. Good and good. Yeah, that all looks good. So I'm going to wash this. I need more than that. There's the badness. See that? Right there? I'm gonna throw that out. I'm gonna throw that out too because I don't like it. Oh. There you go. And when I say throw it out, just means I'm gonna mix it with my actual fibrous material here. This is the plant, the part of the plant that doesn't that's left over after the juice. It's the pulp. So I'm just gonna mix it with my pulp, and it makes a great compost. So, go. A lot of people also use the pulp to make crackers. You can make all veggie crackers with a little bit of olive oil and water. Bake it in the oven. So that's another option. I've never actually tried that myself, but one of these days I will give it a shot. Let's start with this much spinach. So I'm going to rinse it. Now with green leafies, it is difficult to extract the juice. The things to remember, if you can put a bunch of them together like this, it helps. The other thing is a very, very good juicer. You know, the more high end your juicer is, the more effective you're going to be at juicing your greens. The other thing that you want to do is they're also, I forget what they're called exactly. It's like a type of a conical press, and those are actually great with green leafies. It's normally what you see at the juice bars that they use to extract juice from the wheatgrass. So, you know, any of those are fantastic. But on low setting, normally I can get a pretty good yield. I'm at 400 milliliters now, or roughly 15 fluid ounces. I'm going to juice this bunch here of spinach and see where it gets us. Wait for it to get up to speed. Alright, so that brought me up to about 500 milliliters. 500 more milliliters. Let's go with a little more spinach. Like I said, this is just really, really good for you. Most people don't get this amount of nutrients. Most American citizens, and you know what? That's not even fair. Most people in the world, because most people in the world don't get this degree of nutrient content in all of their meals over the course of the day, much less as a snack. I've already had my breakfast. Rolled oats, hot water, and cut strawberries with a little bit of honey. Okay, so we're good here. I've got another handful of spinach. I'm thinking this will give me another 75 to probably about another 75 milliliters, which is exactly where I'd like to be with it. maybe another 50. So I'm good with that. I'll save the rest of the spinach for tomorrow. I think I used a little less than half, or maybe I used about half because that's what I have left. So I'll save the rest for tomorrow. I'm going to do the carrots now. And I always save a high water content food for last, and that way it can flush out any of the extra juices that I've got in the system. I really like the carrots. Number one, I like the taste. They're pretty sweet. Number two, they're pretty nutritious, and we really don't get enough in our diet. I'm going to use half of these. This is 1 pound, so I'm going to use about half a pound. I don't weigh it, I just kind of guess at it. Alright, it's a little light over here. I'll just switch a little carrot for a big carrot. Feels about even. So I give them a quick rinse. And again, like I said, if you're using non-organic fruits and vegetables, be sure to peel them. Alright. And I follow the same rule of thumb with the carrots as I did with the celery. Crap. If you were wondering what that was on my carrot when I picked it up, because it fell on the ground, those were chili peppers. Crushed red pepper, to be exact. Had a spill this morning. I have not cleaned it yet. But there we are. So like I said, I'm going to follow the same rule of thumb as I did with my celery, and that's I'm going to put the flimsy end down. Flimsy end down ensures that I get a more even juice. And also with carrots, just as with celery, if you can find them with the carrot greens, even better. Right. So carrots like to jump around a bit. Alright, that brings us up to about 650 milliliters. We're at about 22.5 ounces. So this is a lot. It's I guess by most standards anyway, by some standards, it's a good amount. It's my apple. I'm going to cut it in half. And as I said, I'm just going to use half of it. And the rest of this I will drink tomorrow, and I should have a little bit of celery left over. Here's my knife. There we are. Sauce her up. You don't really have to take the sticker off, because it just gets tossed in with the fibrous material. But whatever. You don't have to stem it or seed it or anything. A lot of people worry about the arsenic content of the seeds. The arsenic in apple seeds is chemically bonded, so it's completely harmless to people. I don't really know how else to explain that. Table salt. Now we all know that table salt is not necessarily good for you. Sodium chloride, but separate, the chloride is actually deadly. It's a poison. But when it's chemically bonded to the sodium, it doesn't hurt you. At least not in the way that chlorine does when it's unbonded. The same thing with the arsenic here. The arsenic in apple seeds have no effect, or do not affect you the way that arsenic by itself affects organisms. Oh, I went on high. Apple's a really high water content, like I said, so I'm using it to flush out the remainder there. Alright, so that puts us right at 25 ounces, about 725 milliliters. That's at the that's about the midpoint of the froth. If you wanted to mark it from the bottom of the froth, we're a little over 650 milliliters. So 23 to 25 ounces is where we're at. Of course, we've got a lot of pulp here, and I'll show you that. Got a little bit of apple unprocessed here. Love delicious apples. Now, I always use a vegetable bag here for my pulp. That way I don't have to wash this thing a million times. This right here is pretty, pretty intensive to wash also, or anyway. Not to mention the, let's see here, I don't know if I can grab this blade out. I can't really grab the blade out, but the blade gets pretty mucky, and that's the hardest part of this whole deal to clean. Let's see. I'll give you guys a look at what's going on here. So you can see some spinach in there. See the strings are giveaway that we're looking at some celery, and of course the carrot is obvious. Let's see. A little bit of apple. So like I said, a lot of people take this and make crackers. If you have chickens or anything like that, I'm sure they'd love it. I haven't tried feeding any to the fish. Maybe I'll give that a shot and see if they like it. Maybe dry some out and see how they feel about it. Yeah, so that's the morning's take on juice. And this is enough vegetables, more vegetables than most people eat in a week. It's a half pound of carrots, about a third bunch of celery, half a bunch of spinach, and half of an apple, and very, very nutrient dense. It's been a pleasure being with you this morning. As always, this is Be Awake.